Hey, Kristen.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. Thank you. You're looking really nice there.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, just wanted to welcome everyone to another GY Fitness Live with NPC figure competitor Kristin Davidson. Before we get into the topics of discussion, we always want to kick things off by representing our major sponsor for the GY Fitness YouTube channel, which is Tongue and Groove Fashion. And you have a banner that's on the bottom of this screen. You can also visit them on Instagram, and they also have a website called tongueandgroovefashion.com. It's a clothing line that specifically caters to women. So for those of you girls out there who are looking for nice fashion wear at an affordable price, different varieties, colors, it's for all different shapes and sizes. Go check these guys out. They have a warehouse here on the island. They just kind of kicked that off, and so shipping is quick and fast. We know how that's always a problem for Hawaii whenever things come overseas. So go check them out. All right, Kristen, I'm excited to be here and talking to you today.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, another day in beautiful Hawaii.
Yes, it is.
Um, I see a beautiful background back there. What part of the island are you from?
So I live in Makakilo and I love it.
Okay, are you on the mountainside?
Yeah, we're up the mountain in the upper Makakilo area.
Oh, okay. You must have a nice breeze there. I can see the
We
wind blowing.
do. We do. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. We love it.
I actually lived up there in Makakilo. I lived in a complex called Royal Ridge,
Uh-huh.
and so that's if you go all the way up Makakilo Drive, you pass the park on your left, and you keep going, and then the road starts to veer down.
Yep. I'm just a few streets past that Royal Ridge, so I know exactly where that is.
Oh, okay. So you're in the new development. The
You know,
last new development, right?
it's not super new. I think it's about 12 years old, but it's a real nice neighborhood, very cool neighbors, and we just love it.
Mm-hmm.
We've been here since May. We got this house in May, so
Oh, nice.
very
Okay.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah, super, super nice up there. All right. So, hey, Kristen, I know you're not originally uh from Hawaii. So how about you give us your background? Tell us, where you were born and raised.
Sure.
Just whatever you can think of.
So I could definitely like not be from a place any more different than Hawaii. I was actually born and raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And and if you know one thing about Winnipeg, it's that it is extremely, extremely cold for about 10 months out of the year, like -40, -50. So I grew up in the snow until about junior high. Then we moved to Idaho, which is like another world. And then from Idaho, I went to high school and college there. And then I moved to Hawaii for my master's degree. And then I've been here in total. I moved back to the mainland after I got married for a couple years because of my husband's job, but I've been in Hawaii about 10 years total. So in between my two stays here, I lived in Washington State and in Texas. So, but Hawaii about 10 years.
Okay. I mean, so you've been all over the place, and you've experienced different weathers, obviously, right? And
Yes.
the extremes is
And I said I never wanted to live in snow ever again, and that's why I chose Hawaii. So,
right. I mean, we don't have the extreme weathers in Hawaii like the other places, right?
no, always nice.
Yeah. Um, so you're born and raised in Canada.
Yes. Yeah, my
Wow.
mom is Canadian, my dad is American. He moved there when he went to college in Canada. And
Hmm.
so I still have my family there, my best friends there. Besides COVID, I used to like to go back at least once a year, but it's been hard since COVID. But yeah, it's always home. It holds a special place in my heart. So I
Hmm.
love it.
Nice. You ever thought about going back and competing in a show in Canada?
Never say never. I think it'd be fun. Now I've competed in Texas, in Hawaii, and in Pittsburgh. But I'm open to anything. I think
Hmm.
it'd be fun to see how it is there and to experience a different group of competitors and just see how they do things there, I would be totally open to that. I think it'd be fun.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and we got some. I mean, Canada has some amazing athletes too, right? In the IFBB. I mean, I know Chris Bumstead isn't he Canadian? Isn't he from Canada?
He might be. I have to look.
Yeah. So I know there's. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know there's a bunch of really good athletes from Canada. So
yeah, it's very competitive there. It's huge there. So I think it'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So let's get into your fitness journey.
Sure.
And what sparked your interest to get into competitive bodybuilding?
Well, just kind of going back in my life, I was never an athlete. I never played sports in high school or college at all. Couldn't be further from an athlete, had no interest in any of that. Was very much into academics. And then I'd say in my mid to late 20s, I started getting into CrossFit. And that was just kind of as a way to deal with some stuff that was going on. I found it to be a really good outlet, a really good community. So I did CrossFit for about maybe 4 or 5 years. And then actually one of the girls that went to my CrossFit, I started noticing her body was starting to look really, really good. And I was like, what are you doing? Because I don't look like that. And I do CrossFit 6 days a week and I love it, but I want to look like that. And she was starting to look really muscular and I loved it. And she said, yeah, I started weight training. And so she invited me to the gym in Texas. And I remember we did leg day together, my first leg day. And I have never been so sore in my life. But I was like almost like instantly hooked because I like things that are a challenge and new. And so then I started weight training. And then about a year and a half after maybe a year after I started weight training, I started considering competing. And that was because my trainer at the time, she's an IFBB pro. And I just thought, what would be like the biggest challenge of my life, which is so out of my comfort zone. I'm not an athlete, never have been. What could I do to really push myself? Because I've always been just super competitive person. And I really like, having new goals and doing things that, maybe I shouldn't, or, you think I wouldn't be good at doing. So I was like, what could the hardest, scariest thing be? I think it'd be a competition. So after about a year and a half of training with my trainer, I entered my first competition at the age of 34, almost 35. And it was a pretty big show. It was in Dallas, Texas. And I did figure, of course. I've always done figure. I entered in novice and open and ended up taking second overall. And that just kind of, I think once you do a competition, you're either going to be hooked or you're going to be like, okay, that was fun. I'm done, and I was hooked. So it just kind of feeds that competitive spirit I have. And so that was my first one at almost 35 years old.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I mean, for everybody, we kind of have like that story behind what triggered the reasoning behind why we started to compete. And for you, it was interesting because you actually started off in CrossFit, right? Mm-hmm. And tell me the difference between CrossFit training and training for competitive bodybuilding. What's the major difference?
I think the major difference, at least for me, is CrossFit to me it was wonderful, and I'm not knocking CrossFit at all, but it was very random. It was like one day you do this, one day you do that, one day you work out for 12 minutes, one day you work out for 3 minutes. I like the routine of bodybuilding. I like the organization of it. You know what you're doing each day. And I also, for me, the biggest difference was the physical change. Yes, I had lost weight in CrossFit and all that, but I wanted to see the physical change. Not just the functional movement and, being able to flip a tire is all well and good, but I wanted to look good in a bathing suit too. So I like how strict bodybuilding is. To be successful, it's very strict. There's a formula, and I really like that. I like having a guideline and a formula rather than just kind of the random of CrossFit.
Right. And in CrossFit, I mean, do you diet as well in CrossFit, or you kind of just eat whatever you want?
I mean, I think there's some people that do diet and eat well. And then there's also the CrossFitters that, you do your WOD and then you go out and drink beer together, So which is great. Do whatever you like, whatever floats your boat. But diet was never really a huge part of it for me. It was never really part of the programming. So that's 100% different in bodybuilding, where your diet is everything. So
yeah, and one of the comments from our viewers, he said that when he sees you at the gym, you have amazing arms and shoulders. And I have to agree, because when I see you at the gym, that's the first things that I look at is your arms and your shoulders. So tell us, like, how did you build your arms and shoulders? Because a lot of viewers out there would like to know. I mean, they want to know what that secret sauce is, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's any secret. I say it's actually really boring. You do the same thing over and over again, and you follow a diet. So for some reason, my shoulders developed a little faster than I think a lot of women, which was funny because growing up, I actually got made fun of for having bigger shoulders, and now it's like, I want them bigger and bigger. But my shoulders developed a little faster than other parts of my body. I only train shoulders once a week. But again, it's consistency. It's doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then constantly like pushing for more. But it's the diet and the consistent training. I'm in the gym twice a day, 6 days a week, whether I'm in building season or cutting season. So.
And one of the things that I recognize about you, Kristin, when I see you at the gym, is that you really, when you walk in, you have these blindfolds on, right? And you just focus. And I think that's important, because especially for athletes at your level, because I see the guys that come in and they socialize and they train and whatnot, but then I see girls like you that walk in and you're very focused, you're very tunnel driven. You get in, you get your stuff done, and you get out. And it's not like you don't want to socialize. It's just that you have a mission and you want to get things done. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm very in my own world at the gym, and maybe that can give off the wrong impression that I'm not friendly or this or that, but it really is very business oriented to me, and it's kind of my escape. I work with people and I talk to people all day long, so it's kind of my time to be by myself and focus. I mean, you'll never see me taking long breaks doing selfies and this and that. That's just not my style. To me, it's like business, and I just love it, and I get very much in the zone. But that doesn't mean I don't want to talk to people or say hi. So feel free to say hi. But yeah, I'm there to work. So, and it's my time. So I love it.
I think it's a little bit intimidating. I mean, I think some of the guys that see you, they're probably like, man, he looks better than I do. So
Well, maybe they should lift more. I don't know.
All right.
I'm actually don't like let the resting gym face scare anyone. I'm actually very friendly and actually like to talk a lot. But
absolutely. Tell us about your last show or your last competition, Pittsburgh. How was that experience for you?
Oh my goodness. I did my first national show. So this was after competing. I've qualified for nationals at I've done, I think, 7 or 8 competitions now. I've qualified every time for nationals. But one thing, I think it's important to remember for competitors is just because you qualify for a national show doesn't mean you're ready for a national show. So after I started competing 2017, I finally felt like now I was at least ready to give it a go. And so I went to Pittsburgh, my first national show, a month ago. And it was the Masters Nationals. I think there was almost 1,000 competitors there. And it was awesome. It was just such a great experience. There was like no attitude, which you'd think you go to nationals and people would have big egos, but people were so wonderful and so cool. And you got to just hang out and meet people from all over. And there's just something really powerful about being with a bunch of women that are all, we all want the same thing. We all worked so hard, and it's like, these are my people. Like, this is great. You don't have to justify what you do or explain what you do to anyone. And it was just a wonderful experience, and it's addicting. I can't wait to compete again. So it was great.
Tell us about, like, because a lot of folks don't know, right? So a lot of guys compete at the local level, but not a lot of folks go to the national level like you do. when you're backstage, you kind of know how the local shows are run, and then when you go to the national level, you kind of know how those shows are run, right? So what was like the significant differences in how the shows are being managed?
I think, I mean, even though the national show has, 10 or 20 times more competitors than a local show, it's such a well-oiled machine. The one I went to, it was so organized from the check-in to, every part of it was just the expediting. Everything was so well organized and it just ran so well, because if you're not running, if you don't have your stuff in line and you have 1,000 people waiting to get on stage, that'd be chaos. So everyone is just so professional, so organized. It was a really good experience. Everything, I mean, it was a long day, but it was a good experience, and it was just ran so well and so seamlessly.
Mm-hmm. And tell us, so for the guys that are listening that do the local shows, when you're backstage, you have ushers that run, throughout the dressing rooms and like number 52, where are you? Whatever, right? Tell us about the app that they had at the Pittsburgh show.
Right. So there's this new app and it's called Muscleware, WARE, and it actually gives you notifications for whatever show you're following, who's on stage, like what division, what category, and then it gives you like a heads up, like, hey, if you're in the next category, you should be backstage by now. So that was really cool, and it was, you could kind of track the schedule with that app. So that was helpful too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And a lot of guys don't understand this, but when you get to that national level, right, Kristin, it's like the promoters, the judges, the ushers, they know that you're experienced, right? And so at that point, they're not going to baby anybody because they know that you have the experience. They know that you know when to get on stage, what to do, and all that stuff. At the local shows, they kind of baby you a little bit, right? Where they, hey, where are you? Let's get on stage.
Right.
Let's have this meeting. Let's do this. Let's do that. But when you get to the national level, the understanding is that you've done shows. You know what to do. We're gonna treat you like adults, right? Not kids. And it's up to you to make sure that you're on time, that you're hearing the call outs, that you have the app in front of you, so you know when to get on stage, right? So because, like you said, if you have 1,000 competitors and one person is not in the lineup, are they going to wait for you?
They're not. And I did see some people miss their stage time, that were late. And to me, that'd be like the worst thing in the world. So I always go way earlier than I think I'm going to need to be there, because, I mean, how horrible would that be to travel all that way, prep for 20 plus weeks, spend all that money, and then not go on stage? And they did not let them on stage. That was it. Mm-hmm. You missed your time, you're done. So I'm always like, better early than late. I mean, I'll sit there for 3 hours if I have to, 4 hours, just so I don't miss it. So.
Right. And for you guys are at that professional level, so you guys know what you need to do, right? You guys are treating this like,
right. There's no excuses for missing your time on stage.
Mm-hmm, right. I tell this story all the time. So Angela Yamashita, Angela, she's a figure.
She was there in Pittsburgh competing at the pro show. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was up there. She did the USA's. I think it was it was 2013 or 2014. It was her first national show. So she went on stage. She got top 5 call out. It looked like she was going to place either first or second. And the night, so how they run it at the USA's is they have the prejudging in the morning and they have the night show in the evening. So when the night show came around, they did the call outs, right? And she missed her call out. So I seen her backstage and she's crying. And I'm like, what happened? And she's like, I got disqualified because I didn't make it on stage because I couldn't hear it. And I'm like, what? So she was distraught, right? And then we came back to Hawaii. And this is when we had the Powerhouse Gym on Kiawe Street, and she started training hard again. And then the following year, that must have really pissed her off, right?
Right.
So the following year, she did the USA's, and then she not only won her class, but she won the overall. So
it all works out for a reason, I guess.
It all works out for a reason.
I definitely had nightmares in my prep about missing going on stage. I literally had nightmares that I would miss. I'd be late and I'd miss going on. And because there was, I have done shows where I almost missed going on stage when I first did my first few. So I had nightmares about that for sure. I also had a lot of dreams about eating pizza, but that's a whole nother. Those are good dreams.
You ever have dreams about not being able to find your shoes?
Yes. And so I'll literally start packing before a show, like 2 weeks before, and I'll have my list and I'll keep double checking it, or that my suit breaks, or yeah, I'll start packing a good 2 weeks in advance because
Mm-hmm.
you're also so tired at the end of your prep, you might forget your shoes. You might do something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And that's the
definitely.
thing with travel, right? I mean, when you travel, you have to be extra careful. I mean, you do a show locally, it's not a problem. You can just drive
Right.
home and get what you need. But I mean, if you're in Pittsburgh and you
Yeah.
forget something, it's like
This
chaos, right?
this was my first time flying to a show, and so not only did I have to pack everything and I was by myself, I had to bring all my meals. So I had 35 bags of frozen chicken and rice I was carrying too. So it was a whole different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, way harder than a local show for the preparation, but still very good experience.
Mm-hmm. And you would recommend that for anybody that qualifies, right? To at least experience a national level show at least once, right?
Yeah, I think, if your coach thinks that you can be competitive and you've qualified and you could stand up there and, place well, because I'm all about, if I don't think I'm going to place well, I don't want to go. Like I said, just because you qualify doesn't mean you're necessarily ready yet. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are ready and if you have that drive and you can be competitive and your coach supports it, then 100% you've got to go do shows. If you're in Hawaii, you've got to get out of Hawaii to compete, so you can see other competitors, bigger shows, see really how you stack up against them. So
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And one of the things, guys, that you guys all should know about Kristen is that it doesn't matter like what time of the year it is, she's always in shape, like always in shape. She's always ready to pull that trigger if she has to. So I see guys compete, right? And they look like absolute shit, right? When they call it like an off season and it's like, but you're always in shape. So that's the differentiating factor between people who compete at the national level and guys that just do shows, right?
yeah,
So
and well, for me, it's I lose weight so slowly. My coach has we're very conservative. I do long preps, so I don't want to have to lose tons of weight. It's too hard. So I try to stay, within about 10, 12 pounds of stage weight, because it's too hard to lose a bunch of
mhm.
weight. I work hard enough. It's too hard.
Yep. And give a shout out to your coach. I know you've been working with him for a couple of years.
Yeah, my coach is Shane Hughley out of Utah. I've been with him about 3 years now, so
Mm-hmm. Yep.
he's
And
great.
always looking good, Kristen. Always looking good.
Thanks.
Um, so you do the Pittsburgh show, you get feedback from the judges. What do you need to improve on?
So the feedback from the judges was exactly what I expected, which was good to hear. And it was to focus on quads, and that's something that I knew. I know my legs are my weaker part of my body. And so it was just totally reassuring that, yeah, I knew that too. That's what they thought too. And that's something that can be done. So that's really what I'm trying to focus on, with more intensity and more purpose in my training.
Mm-hmm. A lot of folks don't understand how important it is to get feedback from the judges, right? So, you know, um, let's just say that you're giving advice to someone that's competing. How important is it for that person to get feedback from judges versus just saying, I should have won, I look better than that guy?
No, you should always get your feedback from the judges. It might surprise you, it might not, but these are the people literally who are judging you. So don't you want to know what they think about you? And then as a competitor, at least for myself, I know you're kind of very skewed about how you view your own body. We're usually really hard on ourselves. We think everything needs improvement, everything needs this. But yeah, it's these are the people that are going to be, saying who's first, second, and third. I want to know what they think of me, because I can't see it for myself. So to me, getting that feedback, I was scared actually to get it. Like, what if they tell me everything's horrible? But they didn't. So that was good. Yeah, and they thought exactly what I thought. Same thing my coach thought. So that told me I'm going in the right direction. And they said my conditioning was on point. They really liked my back pose, but work on that quad development. So it was
Mm-hmm.
very helpful. It was good. And now that's always in my head when I'm doing my leg days, trying to push those quads more. So
right? And so when you get back on stage and when you get in front of the same judges that's probably going to judge you at the next show,
Right.
they're going to realize that you got feedback, you listened to it, you made the improvements where they made suggestions and recommendations, and here it is, right? And so hopefully that they take a look at you and they see all the work you did and they reward you for that, right? That's the whole concept of this. So what's next for Kristin? What's your next competition? What do you have planned?
So originally I had said after Pittsburgh, I'm going to take a year off from competing and build, but getting the feedback I did that I was, very close, talking to my coach, I decided that I really want to push, see what else I can do this year. So my plan right now is to compete in December in Orlando at their national show and really just work on everything, of course, but really focusing on legs. And to do one more this year.
Nice. And that's this year, right? December.
Right. So then I can eat a lot at Christmas time because I'll be done.
After the show. You can enjoy
after the show.
All right. Let's I want you to just pick one thing that that we don't know about Kristin, that only Kristin knows, that you can share with us.
One thing. Well, I think you guys know this, but maybe a lot of other people don't. I guess if they follow me on Instagram, they know. Well, there's two. I'll give you two. So one is my heart is with dogs and dog rescue. I'm the biggest dog person in the world. I love fostering dogs, volunteering, and fundraising for Canine Kokua. So my heart is with dogs. And then second, I have worked in the criminal justice system for about 20 years. A lot of people don't know that. And I currently work at the judiciary in Kapolei. I manage all of juvenile client services. So I have been in one career field for over 20 years, which is kind of crazy to say that, making me sound old. But yeah, I've always been in the criminal justice world. That's what my bachelor's and my master's is in. So
that's awesome. And thank you, Kristin, for donating all that good stuff in the name of Bugsy. Yeah. We lost our pit bull a few weeks ago to cancer. So thank you for doing that. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know how hard it is, and there's no one a bigger dog lover than me. And I've had one of my dogs is a 3-time cancer survivor, and I've lost dogs, and I know how important and how hard it is. So I'm happy. It's like the least you can do, right? At least you can maybe help another dog, So
yeah, thank you. Criminal justice system. I mean, I have a couple of teenagers that I might have to send your way. So
I actually love working with teenagers. I always thought I'd only want to work with adults. And then I took my first job working with juveniles and I just loved it. I thought of myself as a juvenile. I was like, oh, I was so rotten. I would hate, I was a rotten teenager, but I love working with teenagers. It's actually a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can probably make a good impact on them, right? Because they're so young, right? So not like the adults we have where you can't teach teach an old dog new tricks, right? Let's get into this Q&A, this question and answer. So this is like a speed Q&A. Okay. I'll ask you the question and you just answer whatever comes to the top of your mind. All right, you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Favorite song?
Anything by No Doubt or Sublime.
Okay. Favorite movie?
I never get sick of the original Karate Kid. I go watch that any day, every day.
I love that movie. My uncle stars in it.
Just kidding. So good.
All right. And it's emotional too when you watch it when you get older.
I've probably watched it 500 times. I could watch it right now.
Yeah. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite body part to train?
Shoulders. 100%.
No wonder. Okay. Steak or chicken?
I guess chicken.
All right. Cheesecake or donuts?
Cheesecake.
Leggings or jeans?
Leggings.
Okay. Football or baseball?
Oh, neither. I hate sports. Maybe hockey if I have to pick, but neither.
I know the answer to this. Dogs or cats?
Oh, definitely dogs.
All right, cool. Okay, Kristen. What I want to do at this point is let's go ahead and, if it's okay, we want to pull up your Instagram account.
Sure.
One of the things that, like I mentioned earlier, that we always do with our followers is that we always want to make, the athletes that we speak to, that come on the show, we want to make you guys accessible, because there's a bunch of folks out there that really don't, know and understand competition and what's involved. So you would just become another resource to them where they could actually message you.
Absolutely. And especially for the people that were never athletes, were never, played sports in high school. Maybe they're a little older. Like I said, I started this when I was like 34, which is kind of old to get into it. But, I wasn't an athlete before this. So if you're not, but you're interested, please reach out. I'd love to chat with you and just tell you about my experience and maybe offer some advice.
Yep. And this is this the Pittsburgh show?
Yes, that was Pittsburgh. That was last month.
Awesome. Yep. Nice shoulders. Nice separation in the quads.
And you do so much prep for about 20 seconds on stage. It goes by so fast. It's crazy.
Yep. And posing. Tell us about posing real quick. How important is that?
Posing is everything. So I have worked with multiple posing coaches because you learn something new from each one of them and new cues. People who don't pose well, I feel like generally don't place well. So I think it's so important, and it's something that I've had to learn to kind of accept as I get more into this, because posing is not my favorite, but it's starting to become more of my favorite. But it's so important. It's nothing like seeing a one beautiful physique and then just like awkward, awful posing. Like, it's horrible. So definitely get with a posing coach. There's lots of them out there.
Yeah. Very, very important. And Kristin, and Kristin, for some of the girls that are getting into figure, they can reach out to you for posing too, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, I've worked with a lot of different coaches, so I've gotten a lot of feedback. A lot of different cues, and every time I work with someone, I pay someone, so I learn something new, and I love to just share what I know with somebody, especially starting out. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, let me know and we can get together. And especially if you have your show coming up, the Sean Ray, send me a message. I'd be happy to work with figure.
Yep, there you go, girls, or maybe guys, because now guys cross over. Right?
Anyone.
Contact Kristin for posing. She'll definitely teach you guys the right way to do it. So this is her Instagram. Message her. I told Kristin earlier that if anyone is a creeper, we're gonna block you, so don't do creepy stuff on this. All right, that's not the platform. This is a professional channel where we share information and knowledge on fitness. So keep all the creepers out. All right, guys. So Kristin, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. It's a Sunday. I know you're busy. I know you got things to do. I know you got to go work on your quads.
I already did at
Nice.
8 o'clock this morning. I got it done.
And then, we'll continue to follow your journey. We'll definitely hook up with you again. We'll definitely do another interview with you after Orlando, right? Or maybe even before that, and then just to kind of see how things are progressing.
Yeah, that'd be
but
great.
We'll definitely follow your journey, and we thank you for joining the GY Fitness YouTube channel, and we will definitely connect again.
Thank you so much. And everyone who's watching, obviously go to GY Fitness for all your supplements, training information. Greg and Rose are awesome, especially if you're local, check them out. But even if you're not local, you can still go on order from their website. They have everything you need, super knowledgeable. Please check them out. They're wonderful. So
thanks, Kristin. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, see you later.
Bye. Aloha.
Bye.